Hello friends, my name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain. And we're your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and we turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either from our wonderful listeners or online, and we answer them on the topics of sex and dating.
And this week, let me tell you, I have an apology to make. And I've been meaning to do this for a while, but we've had so many things planned for other things. But this needs to get off my chest. I apologize for making the claims that Tinder is easy. Because I hadn't been on Tinder for a very long time. But I recently did a little experiment on it. And people aren't lying now. It's an absolute nightmare.
Well, you know what? That leads me into our first question.
Well, let's see what the first question is, and then we'll circle back to what I want to talk about if it doesn't cover it.
This is Mr. Nobody Jr. I have not dated in 10 years. What do I need to know about dating in 2021?
Okay, so this is a great segue into what I would like to talk about. So when Tinder first came out, when I was single, I guess 6 years ago, around that time period, you had unlimited likes. You could say yes to as many people as you wanted to. And usually 9 times out of 10, the people who matched with you would be on the top of your stack when you open the app the next time you used it. And you know, that's where they would be. And that was the design of the app, where it's like, usually the first couple people you say yes to or you see are the ones that have previously said to you when you weren't using the app. Now, they did introduce Tinder Plus or Premium or Gold or whatever the fuck they call their premium package, their paid platform, when I was still using it. And it was essentially like you had unlimited swipes, you could undo marks, and I think you could see the people who liked you. I think that was the package that you got when you paid. But other than that, everything still worked as normal. Take a guess what it's like now.
Well, I've seen your shit, so I know this.
What do you mean you see my shit?
We were fucking swiping the other day.
Oh, yes, true. So what it's like now, it is a completely pay-to-win model. At this point, if you are not paying for Tinder, at least as a straight man, you will not get matches. It just will not happen. Or rather, you will get people who are liking you. So the way it was happening for me was I made my profile. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. It's a throwaway thing. So I was like, here it is. I would get notifications constantly being like, someone liked you, someone liked you, someone liked you. Great. You open the app and at the bottom, there's a little counter being like, 16 people liked you, or however many people have liked you since the last time you used the app. Click on that and it's like, well, you have to pay to see this. And I'd be like, well, I'll come across them in my own time. So I would swipe and no matches. And then I'd be out of yeses for the day. And that's it. At that point, I was like, okay. Next time I would use it the next day, it would be like X amount of people have liked you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to say yes to everyone. Because there was a chance that maybe I was saying no to the people who said yes to me. Mm-hmm. So yes. Said yes to everyone. Still no matches. But according to Tinder, I had like 40 something people who had said yes to me. So I did this for a few days of saying yes to everyone. And my likes kept going up. But my matches, I just wouldn't match with anyone.
Mm-hmm. Like at all?
At all. Literally 0 matches, and I would say yes to everybody. Mm-hmm. So there was no chance that I was saying no to the people I was who had said yes to me. No matches, despite the fact that every day I would get a notification saying that like 10 people, 20 people, whatever. So I was like, okay.
Would that number keep going up?
That number kept going up.
Okay.
So people were saying yes to me, theoretically. Mm-hmm. But I just would not come across them. So I was like, all right, well, for science, I host a sex and dating podcast. Let's see what happens. I bought Tinder Premium, which have I told you how much it is?
No.
Guess how much Tinder Plus is?
$9 a month.
It is $30 a month.
That's insane. That's more than Netflix and
That's
Amazon and Disney combined.
It is all of my streaming services, pretty much.
I don't pay for any streaming services because people just give them to me.
But yes, it's like, that is my Netflix, my Crave, and my Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure. Around that price. Mm-hmm. That's wild for insane. A dating app. It is pretty much market standard. Like most dating apps are around the same price. I think Hinge is around the same price. Bumble's around the same price. We'll talk about those other ones in a bit, though. So, sure enough, guess what happened the second I bought Tinder Premium?
Matches?
Matches. Yes. Everyone I said yes to, match, including the ones, and then that's on top of the ones that you can then go into and actually just like see a list of everyone that said yes to you, which you can then filter yourself, be like, yeah, I want to match with them. No, I don't want to match them. Do you think it ends there, though, Niall?
I'm going to say no.
So, no. On top of Tinder Plus or Gold or whatever it is, there's now Tinder Platinum, which is an extra $10 a month, which allows people to see you more frequently.
Okay.
So if you've liked someone, that will put you at the top of their stack, and that's an extra $10 a month.
It's so fucking seedy.
But here's the other thing. There's also a thing called Boost, which does more or less the same thing. You get like a premium spot. So they'll show you, I guess, to more people. I don't know. And those are, I think they're like $2 a boost. Hold on, Tinder Gold or whatever. Like the base package comes with one a month. But yes, if you wanted to buy,
is it like Pokemon Go, where you just like pop one and get more Pokemon for like an hour, or?
Yep, pretty much. So when I use
it an hour? Is it like 10 minutes? Do you know exactly?
It's 30 minutes, I think.
That's so fucked.
Yeah, when I used it, I got a ton more matches, so like it worked. But and then let me tell you, there's Super Boost. Guess how much a Super Boost is for 6 hours?
$10.
$92.99.
Pardon?
Almost $100.
That what? What does it do? Does it teleport people like ready and willing to your bedroom? Because
I have no idea. It says so. The descriptor of it says up to 100 times more views. No matches. Just you will be seen 100% more.
I can only imagine it's actually negative because for that price, everyone has to see you all the time. Like
there
they
should be a
swipe
fucking
away
blimp.
like 19 Danes in the way. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a fucking blimp.
But
that's obscene.
The predatory nature of dating apps now, there are some like Hinge is still a very functional app. In my opinion, Hinge is the best app right now to use. And I understand why everyone was saying that. It's fair. There doesn't seem to be any like there's paywalls. There's the ability to like buy roses, which are kind of like super like in Tinder. And there's the ability to like boost your profile and see the people who have matched with you.
But these are like additional as opposed to being the only way it functions.
Correct. So Hinge is still like the nice thing about Hinge too is when you like someone or something, you like either the picture or the prompt, you can add a message. So it's not just like a catalog of meat the way that Tinder is.
There's at least some content.
You can show like a little bit of your personality. So Hinge, if you're looking for a dating app to use in 2021, Hinge is my suggestion. Tinder, I would use Tinder. You know what I mean? For sure, get on there, but do not let Tinder be any sort of indication. Don't let any app be an indication of your worth or your attractiveness. But Tinder is so fucking rigged and so predatory. Again, this is from a dude, like a straight dude in his 30s. So I don't know if it's different for everyone else, but it is so predatory in its means to make money that I would say the app itself is almost useless for dudes unless you're paying money.
Yeah. Which ain't great. So yeah, I guess as per the question, 2021, go to fucking Hinge if you're doing online dating.
I will also say, OkCupid is also a pretty solid dating app now. Before it was like if you're looking a little bit more for the dating side of things, but OkCupid has a very extensive list of being able to choose what you identify as in terms of the gender spectrum. You can actually select, be like, hey, I'm cool with non-monogamous relationships, or I'm specifically looking for monogamous. You can select what kind of relationship you're looking for and then hide it, I believe. So you can say like, hey, I'm looking for one night stands. I'm looking for casual sexual encounters, but not broadcast it. So you'll be shown people who have similar interests without having it sit on your profile.
Without it being like in your face.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So like OkCupid, again, if you have a more refined dating palette in terms of like what you're specifically looking for, the options there are actually pretty robust in terms of like what you want to filter in and out. And again, there's paywalls. That's just going to be a thing, especially I'm sure Tinder's making a fucking fortune.
Yeah, I'm sure. That sucks. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
remember back in the good old days, it was just free and easy and it was successful. But you know what? I'm glad we came out and said this because I remember when we were like messing around with your Tinder at the bar and it was just like awful.
Yeah.
It's like the worst thing. So you know what? We do apologize for being a little cavalier with that advice. We were working off old intel.
Yeah, very old intel. So I do want to apologize for I was pretty flippant about being like Tinder's not difficult, Tinder's not hard. All you do is get on there and swipe, and it's like that's unfortunately that's not the case anymore.
No, it was just old timer Tinder.
Yeah, back in my day,
You didn't need to pay $100 to be popular for 6 hours.
I like who's paying that price?
Hey, you know what? Someone.
Well, that's the thing. Is like we are like the desperation that Tinder must cause on people and the insecurities that it must prey on. Like
So
the fact that it's like it specifically puts you into a spiral of like, God damn, like no one likes me.
Mhm.
I am undateable. It's such a predatory thing, and I would highly recommend that you do not use if you're gonna pay for a dating app. Don't pay for Tinder because it's so bullshit. Pay for a dating app that will benefit you, that will enhance the experience, as opposed to be like, this is the only way to do it. You can't use our app unless you do this.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason they can do that is because they were so popular for so long. And it's like if people start easing off the gas and stop giving them their money, then they will be forced to be like, wait, look, we work again.
Yeah.
People,
There is a nice thing with Bumble.
Mhm.
You can pay for premium privileges for a day, which is like $5. I was like, that's great. That's a great little addition. If you like, you know what I mean? Like, because it'll show you be like, oh, you have X amount of likes, but when you go to it, they're all blurred out. So it's like, if you're curious, $5 isn't anything to be like, yeah, sure. Let's clear this list. Let's see who likes me.
All right. Any other advice for 2021 dating?
I mean, that was fucking just apps. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
just quickly, if anything major, because I feel like the person in question, it's like they've dated before. The main difference is kind of like the onset or the change in online presence, right? Obviously, pandemic aside, but.
Well, I would say consider the pandemic. Think about things like dates to smaller local restaurants. Support them. If you're going to go out for a date, support a local restaurant. Support a cool, smaller bar. Don't go to, big brand name corporate restaurants. Go to your locals. The other thing is be respectful of people's hesitation when it comes to dating. If they want to meet outside and, have a little bit more safety, that's fine too. Discuss what you guys are comfortable with. Because some people, have the talk of being like, hey, are you cool if I hug you when we meet? It's a pretty common thing. Like everyone is kind of like testing their boundaries and seeing what they want. The whole like kiss at the end of the first date is also something you have to be like, I mean, I think we're in a great position to now be like, hey, I'd like to kiss you due to COVID. Are you cool with that? And that you know what I mean? You can now use COVID as a means to be like, to really break the ice for
to bring up smooching.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about like, trying to read all the tiny little physical signals and like, when should I jump in? Oh my God, is she angling her head? Are those lips puckering? Am I moving? You just say it because, hey, that's a good lover there. If you care about someone's like comfort and health and all that, go for it.
But yeah, I mean, I think those are the big things. It's like taking people's pandemic weariness into consideration and knowing that dating apps are not a direct reflection of your attractiveness or your viability as a partner. Like they're out there to make money. And if you're very, very successful on your app, they're not going to make money. So you have to remember that. That's the most important thing I think I could tell you about modern dating is like all these apps need you to have some level of desperation so that you will pay them. And most of that desperation is manufactured by them.
All right. You got a question?
I do. You know what? We're going to keep kind of on the train here. This comes from Power of Cinema. Does any other guy feel replaceable in dating? I feel like I have no value. Every girl I see has an army of guys waiting in the wings, and I have to compete with them while she can show up and do whatever she wants, and I'll still be there trying to get her attention. I'll still be there trying to get her to think I'm better than the other guys she could be talking to. If she has social media or Tinder, it's likely I'm competing with every guy on campus, every single guy in the city, perhaps even guys outside the state. It takes so much asking and rejection to get one girl to agree to go on a date with me. I'm not some good-looking 6'2" hot guy, so I know it'll be nearly impossible for me to find a woman that's willing to give me a slight chance. If I mess up even slightly, she'll move on to the other 9 guys that she's texting. I have no value to anyone I try to date. Is this just me? Is this what it's like to be a guy? Is dating always like this?
Wow. People aren't your competition. Don't think about that. And also, like, that's just broad statement there. And another broad statement is like, if you don't think you have worth, why would anyone else necessarily? You know what I mean? Like, you need to, first off, believe in yourself, because if you don't, it's just you're shooting the entire process in the foot before you even begin, right? So throw all that I don't have any worth shit out the window. Like, first and foremost, realize that you do have worth. Every single person does. Everybody brings something to the table. And like, you need to be able to realize that.
Yeah,
100%.
imagine going to a fucking job interview and they're like, all right, what's your greatest strength? Or what's your greatest strengths? Literally nothing. I have nothing to offer this company. Do you think you're going to get hired? No, I'm not going to hire you.
Yeah, you need self-confidence for dating. I think you also just need it for life. You know what I mean? There's no point meandering through life being miserable and insecure. It's like every single person has things that make them unique. And that's what makes you you, and that's what gives you value. And, you know, you should learn to love that and revel in it. And quite the opposite of the problem you're having is that you are you and nobody else is. So that's the number one best selling point about you.
Yeah.
2, it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I can hear you like swirling around in this whirlpool of like insecure thoughts of like all these men around you just competing, and so many men, just boys everywhere. Sure, I'm sure there are some guys. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you really shouldn't get like hung up on that, especially not to the level you clearly are, because again, you are you, nobody else is. So it's like, if somebody likes you, doesn't matter that there's like 20 guys, you know, on campus who are hot. And just like living with that fear of always being in this like competition, I can't imagine that's any good for your mental health or just for you and dating, because if that's always in the back of your mind, are you ever really present? Are you ever really like trying? Or are you just like walking around looking at every boy and being like, it's him, I know it, he's gonna text her later?
And the idea of like being like, oh, if I mess up once, then I'm gone. This isn't like a dating sim where women have like a heart meter beside them, and if you make you've chosen the wrong answer, -3 heart point. Like, that's not how it works. So if you say something fucking dumb, sure, maybe they might be like, oh, this guy's a fucking weirdo. Like, if you come up to them, I don't know, like the fucking dude a couple episodes back who was doing statistics in the lunchroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
or
if
the one
that's
who pulled out his ex's nude on the first date.
Yeah, like, if you do any of this shit, yeah. Like, it's not the fact that you've messed up and now you don't get another chance. It's the fact that you've done something fucking weird and they don't have to put up with that.
Which, let's be fair, is all of life. It's not just dating. It's like, if you walk into work and you whip your dick out and you're like, oh, it's a worm. Like, yeah, you're going to lose your job. You know what I mean? But like, if you're 2 minutes late because there was a traffic accident on the highway, you're fine. Like, that's the same with dating. It's like, if you try to make a joke and it doesn't quite land, they're not like, he's not very funny. Dead to me.
Yeah.
No, like, you're good. Like, life isn't that dramatic. It's like, you just need to not be a piece of shit.
I get the fucking anxiety about it. I definitely do. And like, I'm seeing things through a whole new like lens since my Tinder revelations of being like, I understand how these insecurities manifest, because if you're on Tinder, you know, for however many hours a day or using your swipes and you're not getting anything and no one's liking you, you're getting no match. It's like, I can understand how you could spiral into this level of insecurity. But what you need to do is, like Niall said, it's like, you have something to offer. It's called being you. And if certain people aren't into it, that's fine. I'm sure there are people you're not into. You're not obligated to be into everyone, the same that women aren't obligated to be into you. Mm-hmm. So you just have to find, as we've said 1,000 times, mutual interests, join clubs, go to places that mean something to you. Board game cafes. If you're into board games, join a fucking like D&D group at your local board game or your game store. Join, a rock climbing gym, a box, like join something where you have the opportunity to meet new people in spheres that also like interest you, and you're going to find
Mhm.
people who have mutual interests. And again, I'm not saying this is every woman there is going to throw themselves at you, but at least you have a jumping off point, as opposed to like just looking at women as a a sea of women and being like, one of you have to like me, right?
Yeah, you'll be able
Not
to be like, "Hi, look at this cool thing we're both doing that we both like," and that's a pretty good start point. And worst case, you make a friend and you've had some experience talking to someone. That's not a bad worst case.
no.
It's a step forward in dating because having friends and being social are massively important things. And on top of that, even if you never make a friend, you're doing something that you love and you're developing yourself and hopefully learning to love yourself a little bit more. Because step one, and the biggest advice I can give you in this situation, is you need to be self-confident.
Yeah, I mean, the shittiest thing that I see and encounter and hear about and overhear at the bar and see on Tinder is like when people have nothing of substance to add to a situation. If all you're worried about is being dateable, but then haven't, traveled, or you're not a part of any clubs or groups, you don't have a friend group, and you've made no effort to round yourself out as a person, and you've made like, yes, if you don't have anything to talk about because the only thing you've cared about is getting a date, it's not going to work out for you. You really
Mhm.
do need to have some lived experience in order to have meaningful conversations. Because if someone's like, oh, I just did a trip, like, have you ever traveled? No. Cool. What are your interests? Tinder, watching Netflix, like all those things are boring. Everyone does that. So
Yeah.
you need to find what makes you unique and pursue those things and enjoy those things and like sort of submerge yourself in the goo that is your you
Ooh.
goo.
Ooh. So I'm just gonna throw this question in here. This isn't my question. I'm just adding it because it's almost the exact same as your question, but on the female side. I become incredibly insecure because of modern dating culture. Remember, I was younger. It would never cross my mind to be talking to or seeing somebody else. I had trust in people, but now I see my friends get cheated on. It's fucked up my perception of dating and makes me insecure. I immediately think the person I'm interested in or dating to is talking to other people, or sometimes I continue to talk to other people so I don't get attached or catch feelings. I've even been told if a guy hasn't made it official with you, remember he's single and will act accordingly. But I want to get attached and catch feelings. I want to show interest. I want someone to know I want to be completely and 100% about them from the beginning, even if we are figuring out where it goes. I hate the mind games. I hate noticing the little things and red flags that make me think there's someone else or something. I don't know if I'm picking up on it or paranoid and insecure. It's like,
Hey, yeah, I mean, like there's a line in there that says like, oh, if you're not exclusive, he's single.
mhm.
That's a fact.
Yes, that is a fact. And it's not a bad thing
No.
because imagine everyone you met. It's like, shit, we're dating. Fuck. I don't know if he's any good, but like, fuck. Like, I'm exclusive with this stranger now.
Yeah, I do have to ride this out until its miserable end.
Yeah, like, best case, it's like you break up with them after 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whenever you realize they are, in fact, garbage because the majority of dates people go on, like, don't go very far. Can you
I
imagine if everyone you met was 100% about you from the beginning? That would be hell on earth.
I literally wouldn't date.
No,
Like,
but like nobody wants this, and we've seen this question a million times, and it's like, no, you want a fairy tale romance. You want like to meet the perfect guy and have them want to date you instantly, and it's like in your mind, yes, it all makes sense because they're perfect, you're perfect, everything goes perfectly, but that is a fantasy and a dream, and it doesn't work. And the fact that people don't date instantly is how you learn how people are and whether you're good together. Like that's a very important part of the process. And it's not modern dating. You know what I mean? I think there was always like levels of this before. People didn't just meet and be like, we're married.
yeah, I mean, like, I get the whole, like, chances are in the 50s, it was like if you asked a girl out, you probably weren't asking like another girl out the next night. But like, there, the, the 50s isn't a time to look back to and be like,
Yeah.
damn, I wish we had those ideals still. It's
Yeah.
like there was so much backwards nonsense. It's like, the treatment of women was terrible back then. The
Mm-hmm.
treatment of people of color was terrible back then. The
Mm-hmm.
50s is not a thing that we should be idolizing.
And even
And
the thing we're talking about from the 50s wasn't good either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone's like, shit, I really wish I had less opportunities and chances and choices in my romantic life. Because if you want that, you're wrong. You're crazy.
yeah, we've said it again a thousand times, where it's like, you need to give people space to make their decisions, and that's how you find real relationships. That's how you find like a lasting committed relationship. If like, I probably wouldn't be with Amanda right now if after a couple months she was like, I would like to be exclusive, or what are we? Because at that point in time in my life, I didn't want an exclusive relationship.
Yeah.
So I would have been like,
100% same
I'm
thing
really
with me.
sorry.
Like, it takes a while sometimes to get over a bad relationship. And on top of that, it's like, various life things and blah, 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 blah. And like, my girlfriend was just so chill about everything and like very realistic and reasonable and open. And we communicated and all these things. And it's like, there was no time limit. There was no like, oh, you bet, there was no like tension and all this shit. It's like, we had a great time. And when it came the time to date, we dated and it was great. Like, and if it had happened in a different way, I think we would have fucked it up for both of us,
100%. Like I said, like I with 98% certainty that I would not be with Amanda if it had gone that way.
And
And
that would be a big pity.
it would suck. 100% suck. And I think if you look at most of the couples who got into a relationship because of that ultimatum, they're probably significantly less happier than if you look at the people who gave themselves time, allowed themselves to explore the other options, and come to that conclusion together on their own time. I think
Mhm.
those
Like
couples, those
organically
relationships,
and properly and
yeah,
like genuinely.
because you might see a couple who, got married because they thought they had to, but are they happy? Because
Hmm.
probably not. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe they are. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it works out, and that's
Well,
great.
there's always exceptions to every rule. But either way, like, people need to take a breath, be confident in yourself. I'm saying it for like the fourth time. You are great. There is somebody out there for you, no matter who you are. Once you're not getting bitter and jaded and paranoid and upset about all these things, because that's going to be one of the main things that will ruin all of this for you. So be confident. You always have something to bring to the table. And if you feel
Mhm.
like you don't, maybe work on that. You know what I mean? What is it that you love? What is it that you're not doing? Are you doing things you don't want to do because you're too worried about your true passions? Or are you just focusing on dating kind of like in a void with no actual, because you could go and, as Dane said, join a club and do all these things and you'll be building yourself while opening all your possibilities. These are the things you should do. Be positive, build yourself up mentally, physically, emotionally, fucking spiritually. Like, have a good life, do things that benefit you. And like, the happier you are and the more confident you are, you'll be fucking eons more likely to date somebody.
Think of it this way, and this is how I try to explain it to people. If someone says, "Oh, hey, what does your week look like?" Or, what do you do for fun? If you say, "Oh, I like hanging out with friends and Netflix and going out," yeah, everyone does that.
Yeah.
But if you said, "Oh, like on Tuesdays I'm part of a co-ed dodgeball team, Thursdays I take my improv class, and then Friday nights I get together with my friends, we play D&D, and we've been doing that for 3 years." That
Mhm.
What's more interesting to you? Like, what has more opportunity to develop into a conversation or develop into something being like, man, dodgeball sounds fucking awesome. Like, is there a
Mhm.
spot on your there's
Or even
and
just like, how long have you been doing that for? Like, are you guys in a league? Like, even basic fucking questions, as opposed to like, oh, Netflix.
yeah,
What are you
watch
watching on?
anything?
What do you
See,
watch on Netflix? It's like,
you watching that Squid Game?
yeah, like everybody's watching Squid Game. We get it. It's not exciting. And the thing is, I feel like the only people who say things like that are people who legitimately are super fucking boring and have nothing going on in their life, or people who are too scared to admit that they do things. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're embarrassed that you write fantasy novels. Maybe you're embarrassed that you, like, do fucking woodworking or knit or some bullshit. Like, which you shouldn't be. You
No.
should be proud of all the things that make you you, and you should sing them to the fucking heavens. So be confident, be
Yep.
yourself, build yourself up. You always have something to bring to the table. There's somebody out there for fucking everybody. Fuck all the people waiting in the wings because they're not you, and that's the point. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want to just be the only guy. So like, oh shit, you get the girl by default. Like that's sleazy. What you want is someone to choose you for you because that's fucking awesome.
And the point is, and this is something that I want to highlight, and it's very particular. What Niall just said is people need to choose you. That needs to be something that they do, and that needs to be something that they do in their own time. And we've said it, we just talked about it, but if you're forcing them to make a decision, that sucks. That's not an honest to God decision. That is ultimatums when it comes to being like, well, either we date or you don't get to see me anymore. That sucks. Because, the weaker willed people will be like, well, I really like hanging out with you. So yeah, I guess we'll date. And that's the wrong choice 9 times out of 10. Because so let people choose you. Give yourself time. Also, let yourself choose people. Don't just settle for the first person who gives you attention. Don't settle for the first person that matches with you. That's not the way this works. If you go on a date with someone, even if it's the first date you've gone on in 8 years and it's like the closest thing you've had to a chance at romance, if you go on a date and they're bad or you don't connect with them and there's no spark or there's no romance, call it quits.
Yeah.
Don't stay with them because you think that's your chance.
Because it's not.
No. And like, sure, maybe you just don't get another fucking date for another 8 years. Who cares? Is it really better than being in a relationship that's mediocre?
Or
like,
miserable.
is mediocre what you want written on your tombstone? I don't think so.
Relationships are very rarely mediocre. If there's a problem, that problem only compounds as time goes on, and it's harder to get out of because you've sunk more time into it. So just, respect yourself, love yourself, be fucking confident, and don't worry about other people because someone's always going to have a choice in the relationship, and it's not your place to like deny them those choices or like get in the way of those choices. It's your place to be the choice she makes because you're great.
Yeah.
And you do that by being you.
And if you have a hard time believing in yourself, know that Niall and I believe in you.
We do.
For like the split second, if you ever doubt yourself, just be like, well, you know what? Dana and Niall believe in me. So I got this.
And we have great taste in people.
It's true, we do. Speaking of great taste in people, we have a agent submitted question. This is Agent Snapshot. She would like to know, am I the asshole? She says, hey guys, started listening a few months ago, and you are now my go-to for commutes and various other downtimes. I'm up to episode 100 so far, and often find myself cracking up in the car and looking around to see if anyone notices. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
My question is about what's fair to ask of your spouse/partner and what is too much to ask. My husband, 42-year-old male straight, and I, 41 female straight, recently had a pretty big disagreement, and much of it centered around a photo of myself that I shared with a friend. The photo of me was of me outdoors, fully clothed, though with a significant amount of cleavage showing. It was a POV photo of me in my hammock facing out into the yard, no face in the photo. My friend, a female who I only know online, had shared photos in our chat from time to time, and this was the first time I had shared one. My husband saw it. He was not snooping, and I was not trying to hide it, and was very upset. He seemed to be upset on two fronts. That I had shared a photo which I previously sent to him with someone else, and that I had shared a photo of myself over the internet in general. Actually, I can understand reason number one, as we had just started dabbling in sexting fairly recently. It's not such a hard compromise to agree not to send photos we've shared with each other to other people. But complaint number two just seems unreasonable to me. I agreed to delete the photo and stop chatting with the friend as a result of how heated the argument became. Even though we are married, it seems overreaching, bordering on control. Am I the asshole?
I don't think so. I think that he has a different insecurity that he's trying to rationalize by being like, oh, you sent a picture over the internet. Like, let's be fair. Let's start with that. That isn't a bad, like, that's not a thing you can be upset about. What if I send, it can't just be any picture and the internet. Those are massively broad fucking terms to be able to have to stay away from. I send you pictures fucking dozens of times a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of our friends, I send pictures almost every hour. You know what I mean? Like, are memes okay? I assume it was a jealousy thing where because there was cleavage and because their face wasn't in it, he saw it, got upset, worried about cheating, maybe didn't know that the recipient was female because they did say they were straight, right?
Yes, both of them are straight.
Yeah. So maybe they didn't know that, and then he got so caught up in the like fear or the anger or the embarrassment that he like clawed back his dignity or attempted to by like change, you know what I mean? By changing the argument, being like, no, I was actually annoyed at this. Because that's kind of how it feels. Because just being like, oh, you sent a picture over the internet is an insane thing to be upset about.
Now, I do think, like she says, I think point one has some merit on his side. I think that, like, if you have recently started sending sexy pictures to one another, and this was a picture that you deemed as a sexy picture, and you sent it as a sext, I understand that he would then, like, I understand his kind of irkedness of being like, well, if this was a sext to me, then you're now sending it to someone else.
Yeah, which, you know, the point of a sext is to be sexy, to be provocative. So does that point then change? Like, why were you sending it to this person, right? I assume, like, you know, I doubt it was like, oh yeah, check out my hammock. This is the only picture I have of it, because that's kind of weak, right?
Or even, I think there is, I mean, like, I know a lot of the girls or the women that I work with, like, they've all talked about like how they send each other their nudes and they send each other their like sexy photos, and like it's a hype up like girl gang.
Well, that's the thing. It could be
circle
that
of positivity.
She just was like, I'm feeling myself. Like, look at this sexy picture. Again, like I assume that there would need to be some context, which we weren't provided, and I assume that the husband got the context because, like, I can't imagine this conversation going down without you explaining why you sent it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's missing is kind of hard for us to deal with because I think that's a key part of this puzzle. But, you know, I do also think that saying pictures we share with each other, you can't send anyone else. I assume it's implied that they mean sexy pictures.
Yes.
And I think that's a very fair rule.
Yeah, I think that if you are saying, hey, this is a text that I deem as sext, I think that means that it stays between you two. Regardless of like how tame you might think it is or how tame it actually is, if you guys have like entered into this realm of, hey, we're going to sext. And even if he's sending you like a picture of just like an unbuttoned shirt, if that's what he thinks is, this is sexy, like this is going to get you going, I think you would probably also be a little upset if you found out that he was sending it to other people as well. I think the fact that you guys are both straight and you sent yours to a woman, there's that kind of gray area as well. But I do understand the idea of being like, you designated that photo as a sexy photo for him and you then sent it to someone else. So I understand his concern there, or like the reason why he's upset. But as you said, I think the idea of being like, you shouldn't send pictures to anyone over the internet. Now, there is also a caveat here too. You mentioned that you know her only online.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be a little concerned about security. And I think it might be a little over the top. I think if you have like Zoom calls with this person and you know that they are who they say they are, I think he should chill out a little bit. But if it's just sort of like I don't know how you know this person,
yeah,
and what
like
you mean by
text-based Discord server that like you've never actually met, or you know what I mean? Like they could be Greg from down the road.
Yeah, so there's that as well. So this is one of those really hard gray areas where I don't think either one of you could be wrong. I think you guys really do need to sit down. One, I don't think you should cut off friendships because of an argument with a spouse unless there's like a real good reason.
Yeah,
so I think you need to sit down and be like, no, I think you need to sit down and say, hey, I get it. I understand. From now on, if I take a picture that's meant to be arousing for you, I won't share it with anyone else.
I will say, if it was the case where like you're sending it to a friend because, you know, you kind of like think you look good and you want to buoy yourself up, maybe explain that to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And maybe see if that can be a caveat, right? Because like, you know, if I wanted to send you a picture of me looking good in a suit or something, or vice versa, you know, or you want to send me that picture of you wearing a bear head, you know, just to get some boy compliments, you know, we've all done it. It's fine. And I think like you shouldn't have to feel afraid of that. And I imagine that if they know that that's what you're doing, they're not going to be like, oh, no, I'm worried you're trying to seduce your best friend, Claire. You know what I mean? So, again, I imagine a lot of this stemmed from like being kind of taken unawares, seeing the picture, being sent to somebody else, and like everything surged up in him before he got all the details, before he realized it was, you know, because for him, he just saw it being sent and like jumped to conclusions, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, hash it out, talk, explain your side, and like, there's nothing wrong with keeping private pictures between you guys private, right? At all. I don't think that's him being controlling. But there definitely is something wrong with you can't send a picture over the internet ever. So, figure out healthy boundaries, try not to get heated and explain where each of you are coming from, because I feel like it's understandable. Like if you caught him sending a sexy picture of him and just saw it kind of like in the sent side of things, you'd be confused if it wasn't sent to you, right? Maybe upset, maybe scared. You never know, right? So I think it's reasonable enough for him to have reacted. It's reasonable enough to maybe have some kind of like keep X, Y, and Z type pictures between us. But I also don't think it's unreasonable to be able to send pictures to your friends if you just feel like you're looking good and there's no ulterior motives. And it is wildly unreasonable to ban you from sending pictures over the internet.
So I think it's going to come down to you guys being like, okay, we had our blow up. Let's talk about this as a means to clear the air and to clear up our expectations moving forward in the future so we don't do this again. Like, let's figure out where we stand on all this. And I think everything that Niall just said is what you do need to address in the conversation, but it is a conversation I think you guys should have. It sucks to like do things and be like, I don't know if he's going to like this, so I'm going to make sure he doesn't see it. Because then you're being sneaky. Like,
or
there's no need to
just
do
be
this.
like, I don't know if we're going to have a fight, so I just won't do it. Because then you're going to start to feel bitter.
Exactly. So it's a thing that you really need to like put your cards on the table, explain where both of you are coming from, and try to find a meet in the middle situation and be like, okay, cool. These are our rules going forward when it comes to these kind of pictures, and I guess pictures in general. I don't know. That's something that I think you should be a little more firm on, of being like, I'm going to send pictures to my friends. Sorry. If like, if we're out somewhere cool and we look great, I might take a selfie and be like, looking good. Like, do you have Instagram? Like, I don't know where the line there is. So that's something you might need to figure out on your own, what your personal boundaries are, and then bring that up.
Hopefully this conversation goes well. You know what I mean? And they go, yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of like, went off a little bit. And you're like, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't explain. Whatever happened, you guys meet together and like come up with something. If for some reason he's like, no, I stand by what I said, you can never send a picture to anyone on the internet, then yes, controlling and probably should leave. I'm hoping that's not going to happen because it seems like a very worst case type scenario. But, there's nothing to be gained by not addressing this, because you all know there's some kind of issue revolving around this. But like, you don't have the parameters yet. So there's always going to be that like walking on eggshells feeling, and you're not going to know what to do or when it's going to explode. And like, if you don't take away what he thinks you've taken away and vice versa, there's a lot of like potential for an even bigger argument down the line. If someone's like, I thought we already had this issue, but like, you're not on the same page.
100%.
Good luck, but doesn't look like you're the asshole.
No, I think we can pretty definitively say that you're not an asshole in the situation. I think it just all miscommunication and misunderstanding. So, and that just needs to get cleared up.
This is by Puzzleheaded P 52020. Boyfriend secretly watches porn while humping me. I, 25-year-old female, and boyfriend, 28, for 9 years, currently not in good terms. So we have problem with sex. He always fails to reach the edge, sometimes because of the reasons he's 1, exhausted, 2, the temperature is set on extremes, or 3, no reason, his willy is just not hard anymore. I think it's because he just added some weight. He now weighs 220 pounds for a 5 feet 5 inches man. However, I caught him twice watching porn when he's having me behind. I caught it because he puts a pillow behind my back to put his cell phone while humping me. First one I forgave it and just gave cold shoulder, but now he did it again. I'm giving him now a cold treatment. What should I do? Does this means anything? He doesn't want to talk about it and just keeps giving me the childlike, annoying, giggling smile every time.
Ugh. That got real gross towards the end. Look, I get the dudes, like, being tired and being hot are two easiest ways for me not to finish during sex.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm too tired and if I'm too hot, like, heat is one of those things where it's just like, I'm like, I want to come so badly, but I am so fucking hot that it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It happens. But like, the move of being like, not only pulling out your phone during sex, where are you getting it? One, where do you have it? Where's it just fucking within arm's reach? Anyway, and then not just pulling out the phone to secretly watch porn, but to literally like set up a pretty cool like phone watching station on top of your partner?
That's the thing. How is this secret? This is very obvious. There's no reason for a pillow to be on your back in doggy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think you're giving him a lot more credit than his due. This isn't secret, which maybe he thinks you'd be cool with it. I don't know, but like this is not secret. This is very obvious.
Yeah, I would love to know how like the first time it happened played out. Like, was she just kind of like, "Oh, there's a pillow on my back," and the only reason you know is because like maybe you moved too fast and the phone
And the
fell
phone,
off?
yeah. Like,
Does he have the sound on? Like,
I wouldn't even be sure. So, okay, can we just address the weight line?
he can't finish because he put on weight.
Yeah, I would imagine that insecurity is a massive thing that might stop somebody. So
Sure.
if you're gonna bring it up like this in the question, it kind of feels to me like you maybe have brought it up to him. So maybe like that's part of the problem.
And that being said, like it's flip sides of like it's two of the same coin, of the sense of being like, if you're sort of mishandling the weight gain situation, that's one thing. And that's something that you need to talk about, and that's something we can talk about in a bit. But it's also like, if this dude also thinks that this is okay, regardless of the reason.
Sorry, this is not okay. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about the him failing to like finish, and it's like if you're being, I'm just very worried they're being shitty about the weight. That's my only aside. Please don't be shitty about the weight, right?
Yes.
Are they treating this right? First one I forgave and gave cold shoulder, but now I'm giving him cold treatment, which is obviously the escalation of cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Is this the way to go, Dane?
No,
What
absolutely.
what should they do? Does it
Oh,
mean
man.
anything?
Sir, there's a word. I can't think. It starts with a C. It's it's on the tip of my tongue here.
Come shower.
Yeah, come shower. You need to come shower this.
Mm-hmm.
No, fucking talk to them. But here's the thing. It sounds like they did talk to them and like, hey, don't use my back as a fucking porn stand during sex. Oh, like if that was the response to, if that was the response to anything, like if I was having sex with someone and they kept like fucking biting me or pinching my nipples really hard or something, I was like, hey, stop that, and they were like, I would be so done with them. Like if
to be
they
fair, if most anything happened and I was like, hey, you know, and they were like, like I'd be out of there.
yeah,
So
especially a 28-year-old man.
yeah, basically, you've been together 9 years. You should be able to talk about this. You should be able to talk about anything. If you cannot talk to them, just fuck this issue. That issue is already so bad. If you cannot talk to him, don't date this person. You know what I mean? Just flat out. Yeah, so you need to talk to them. You cannot accept this. And if they literally will not leave, if they do talk, you need to be like, hey, why are you doing this? You need to figure this out. Like, don't ask us. What should you do? You should talk to them. Does it mean anything? I guess it means he wants to watch porn while you guys fuck. Like,
Yeah, you can like bring it up and maybe you can come to a conclusion or like a compromise of being like, before you guys have sex, you can put porn on the TV and kind of like mutually masturbate or fool around. Maybe like, you know what I mean? Like in court, like if it's something that he feels he needs to do and it's something that you're cool with, maybe introduce it into your sex life. You guys have been together for 9 years. Sometimes you need a new fucking spark, a little bit more tinder into the fire. Like, that's fine. But if you're not cool with it, and this seems to be a new sexual aid that he requires, maybe try to get to the bottom of why he requires it.
yeah,
And try to root out the problem from the base, as opposed to just like being like, oh, I don't like that you did this. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm just not going to talk to you for a little bit.
yeah, that's not the way forward. So, like, try to leave your ego at the door when you're having this conversation. You know what I mean? It can be tough, especially if someone's, you know, saying that they're no longer as turned on or attracted, like, with the way you do things currently. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a pretty hard conversation, but like, you need to be able to get through it without giving them the cold treatment, and they need to be able to get through it without giggling like some kind of haunted doll. Fuck this cold shoulder bullshit. Get it out on the table. If he's unable to, do not date him.
Yep.
Like, you can't date someone who won't talk to you about important things. That's just it.
Now, it is the spooky season. There is a good chance he is haunted by some sort of mischievous porn-watching gremlin.
That is, of course, a possibility. And I should have brought it up earlier.
So maybe wait out the month if this continues. in November,
Mm-hmm.
well, then you have a problem. Maybe get a priest involved. You might need to expel this gremlin. We'll see. But
Get a priest anyway. Make him sit in a circle of salt. Get a priest with a phone stuck to his back to distract him, and then do the incantation that we're going to email you.
Actually, you know what? As per Tinder, if you want the incantation to remove this gremlin, you are going to have to pay us $87 a month.
And you only have the incantation for 6 minutes.
All right, let's do some Tinders. At the end of every episode, we like to peruse online dating platforms such as Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, and look at profiles to see what works, what doesn't work, and in an effort to make your online dating experience a little more enjoyable.
Hey, Dan, you ready for a test?
Sure.
You got pen and paper?
Nope.
You got a phone you can type on?
I guess.
Okay, so this Tinder is a test.
Oh, okay. All right,
so
hit me.
You're going to answer these questions. You'll get plus or minus points, and you have to swipe if you score more than 15.
You guys can play along at home if you'd like.
Yeah, true. Tell us your scores. If anyone gets 15, we want to know about it. Do you like to stay at home, Dane?
Yeah.
Give yourself 5 points.
Okay.
Do you believe in God?
No.
So you don't get those 5. Do you work and or study?
Now, do I lose the points?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So
I do work. Yes.
4 points right there. Are you family orientated?
I guess.
4
well,
points.
no. I'm going to say no because, I don't want a family.
I think it might be like, are you close with your family?
Okay, then yeah.
You get 4 points. Do you drive?
I don't.
You're gonna. I'm gonna play as well. Hold on.
We're bringing this dude's big fear. It's 2 men fighting over this woman.
It's true. I think it's actually a guy's profile. Are you not clingy?
Yeah, I'm not clingy.
Are you able to compromise? Oh,
Wait,
sorry. If you're not clingy, you get 3 points.
Okay.
Are you able to compromise?
Yeah.
So you get another 3 points. Do you have a positive outlook?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Do you have goals in life? You get 2 points. Sorry.
Okay. I've got goals, sure.
2 points.
Man, I feel like there's a real big minus coming up.
Do you remain calm in times of anger?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. That one's confusing because if it's already times of anger,
I think it's like, do you punch the wall? Do you go full Kyle, or can you talk while you're angry?
Fair. All right, I'm gonna give myself those 3 points, and then
3
cooks.
points. Yeah,
I know you do. So that's 4 points right there.
that's a lot of points,
right? You're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So, if you don't believe in God, -5.
Okay.
If you're not good with parents, are you good with parents?
I'm great with parents.
Okay, you don't lose 4. Do you need attention 24/7?
No.
Okay, you're good. But you don't drive, so you're going to lose 1.
Okay.
Do you go out nearly every day?
No. I mean, like partying, or
Do you go out nearly every day?
I assume they mean partying, so I'm going to say no.
Do you smoke or drugs?
I don't.
And oh my God, are you always gossiping?
Nope.
Do you have hundreds of guy friends?
No.
Then, wow, you only lose the Lord and the driving.
Okay, so I'm at... do some math for me. I'm bad at math.
Well, I assume you made it.
Well, I want to see how many I got.
Okay. I am pretty much always gossiping, so... And I'm going to count myself as having hundreds of guy friends, so...
Okay.
Because I feel like it's not very literal, and I do have quite many amounts of guy friends. In fact, I think you all should take that -4.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the -4. So I'll just remove that one. What's your final score?
Oh, my final score is 7.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Mine's 22.
Well, damn. Did you take the -4 for guy friends?
Yeah.
Well, I'm always gossiping.
Oh, okay.
Damn,
you failed that test.
But you know what? That's okay. I don't like this guy anyway. I'm going to give this a 3.
I'm going to give it a 10. This is a great test.
It looked more fun than it ended up being. There's no humor in here. They're very into God. They're very judgy because they have hundreds of guy friends. It's very slut-shamey, I think. Always gossiping. It's very, sexist. Goes out nearly every day. Also slut-shamey.
It saved me a fortune on having to buy a new Cosmo to do one of their quizzes, so that's great.
That's why I liked it. It's getting a 3 from me.
Yeah, no, this isn't a profile. I shouldn't have to do an application, especially not on fucking Tinder. Mm-hmm. So, fuck this shit. Stop clicking that pen.
Nope.
So this is Sabrina. It's spooky season. Let's snuggle and watch House of a Thousand Corpses. Young, dumb, and full of cum amidst the sixth extinction. Must love cats.
What was that last bit? Amidst the sixth extinction?
Yep.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
And they did say they were full of cum?
Young, dumb, and full of cum.
Okay. I really like the start. I do love that their name is Sabrina. Like, if there's any other month for you, it's got to be this, right?
Oh, I wonder if the sixth extinction is a Sabrina reference.
Oh, like the new Sabrina? Boo.
Yeah.
Ooh. I give it a 5. I like House of a Thousand Corpses and spooky season and cuddling and the name Sabrina, but everything else a little...
Oh, no. The sixth extinction is apparently a theory that the book argues the Earth is amidst a modern, man-made sixth extinction.
I'm also now worried they're an anti-vaxxer. I'm down to 4.
Yeah. I'm going to give this a 2 because
Okay.
it worries me.
Are you ready for this? This is a guy. Their name is crossed out, so I can't read it. When we get together, we gonna cuddle. Low key, I'm a cheat. I'm a cheat a lot with girls that are uglier than you. Lol. I'm gonna break up with you every day over nothing. I'll make it seem like it's your fault, even though it was my fault. Then when I leave you broken and insecure after months of working on yourself, when you good and happy, boom, I'm gonna come back in your life with my toxicity and I'll fuck up your peace. P.S. I will get you pregnant, father of none.
Well, here's the thing. It sounds like he's very bad at all this based on the fact that he says, I will get you pregnant, but doesn't have any kids. So it sounds like perhaps this man doesn't know what he's saying and is actually a great partner.
Judging on his Tinder profile, I'm not surprised he's never been able to enact this.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very funny.
It's funny, but like I'm not sure what the point is.
It's a weird flex if this is the joke.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I feel like this is almost spot on what some women are looking for. Now, it's not what anyone will ever admit to looking for, but like we all know people who like gravitate towards this almost word for word tactic.
Now I do love the weird compliment where it's like I'm a cheat with girls uglier than you.
Yeah.
That's such a weird specific thing. It's like no one hotter than you. Don't worry.
Well, I think it's meant to imply that like I think it's almost like a backhanded insult of being like, I'm not even going to try to make them more attractive than you.
Who knows?
I don't know. It's a 0 for me because...
Yeah, I assume it's a joke, but even then, it's like there's nothing that flips it. You know what I mean? There's no like, lol, just kidding. It doesn't end. So yeah, 0.
This is Toriga? Looking for a serious relationship. Single, widow, divorced are welcome. Married, lunatics, sex phone, one night stands, friend with benefits, please swipe left.
I'm sorry, sex phone?
Sex phone.
Damn.
I assume she means phone sex or like sexting, but sex phone in and of itself makes me think that maybe there's just this like really devious, very charming phone out there making his round on Tinder.
She's dealt with him before and she will not again, sir.
Not today, sex phone.
I've already dealt with you.
She's super into the widows, though.
Yeah, that's powerful.
She doesn't care about your trauma as long as you're not married or a lunatic.
Hey, not wrong there. It's going to be a 5 because I would swipe them to ask about the sex phone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, we've got a Bumble snippet.
Okay.
What makes a relationship great is ... the prompt. And their response is trust and etc.
Not wrong. They kind of phoned it in on that one.
But like, you don't say and etc. You say etc.
Maybe they think the phrase etc. is what makes love great.
It hurts me so much every time I read it. I'm like, ugh. Trust etc. Fine. Trust and etc. No, I will never date you. 0.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a 1. This is Alexandra. I believe it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "You have reached the end of your free trial membership at benjaminfranklinquotes.com."
Is that it?
That's it.
See, I like it, but it doesn't give me enough. It's going to be a 6.
I think it gives me everything I need to know. It's going to be an 8.
It's pretty good, though. Okay, this is Lee. About me. This is Bumble. Let's pursue kindness, humility, and vigilance as we tend this fallible world.
I mean, that's quite poetic, quite nice.
Yeah.
But about you?
Like, it's the about me section.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like that's... Yeah. Is that about you, though? Is that really telling me anything about you?
No, I guess it's they don't understand easy assignments, and they are poetic.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like it's like I said, it's very pretty, it's very nice, but not really telling me much. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
Let's be fair, it's also vague and like, it's like when you waffle a fucking like essay in university. They're just using big words and saying stuff to fill up space. It's like this doesn't tell me shit. Vigilance, kindness, and humility. How? Fallible world? What are you talking about?
I mean, fallible world makes sense. We're a pretty fallible world.
This person is a 3.
Okay, this is Erica. Sam, the first night at bed when you left, Ron made out with 2 girls and put his head between a cocktail waitress's breasts. Also was grinding with multiple fat women. When you left crying at Clutch, Ron was holding hands and dancing with a female and took down her number. Multiple people in the house know, therefore you should know the truth.
What?
I assume this is a quote from something,
I assume so.
but why is that your Tinder profile?
Yeah. Oh, it's from Jersey Shore?
Sure. I mean, like a deep, deep cut, I guess, unless it's a huge, like, meme from Jersey Shore. But also, Jersey Shore hasn't been on the air for fucking years, probably close to a decade at this point. I don't know.
It's really weird.
It's a very strange fucking move. Like, it's nothing about it. I hate it. It's 0.
I'm like it. No, I think 0.
Yeah.
Because like it's confusing and like it's kind of fatphobic, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's garbage, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm. All right, last one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. It had to happen. This is Julia. God first, Christian, politically conservative, looking for the same. Values more important than interests. A balance of laughter and strong conviction. Smile. Swipe left if you're vaxxed or planning to get vaxxed.
Yeah, easy 0.
Yeah.
Moving on, Julia, get on out of here. Thank you very much for listening. That's going to do us for this episode. It's been a pleasure, as always, to hit you with the advice. And I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope that you stop giving your money to Tinder.
Yeah, thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities, for the song Paper Stars. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions, everyone who listens, all of our Patreon followers for sure, because you guys are the best. If you have yet to sign up and you want to support us, we really, really would appreciate it. It helps us keep the podcast on the table.
Head on over to fbuddiespodcast.com, and if you would like to submit a question like Agent Snapshot did today, hit the contact form. If you would like to support the show as Niall has suggested, click the Patreon link, and it'll bring you over to Patreon, and it will give you the options. There's 4 tiers, so you can choose something that fits your budget. If you don't have the cash, because we understand the pandemic fucked a lot of shit up, tweet us out, share us with friends, tell your friends, post us on your Instagram, just share the word. And that is all we can really ask of you. So thank you very much for your guys' support.
Mm-hmm. And if you do have the cash, for the price of a beer, you get a brand new episode every month. You ready for some terrible sex writing?
Absolutely.
The over-sexualization of society is killing us. This is posted in Our Conspiracy. Porn is everywhere. It's in your child's classroom. It's in nearly every social media feed. And this is not good because it's devolving society into a circle of misery. For guys, it's wake up, go to work, jack off, sleep. For women, it's wake up, post sexy pictures, receive instant gratification, go to bed. There are no more traditional women, no more traditional men. Society has destroyed traditional masculinity and created a generation of submissive rodents who pay money to see pictures of girls wearing lingerie and swimsuits. They also have destroyed feminine women. Every woman today is either a blue-haired hippopotamus who doesn't take care of herself or a borderline prostitute who survives off male attention and whores herself out on OnlyFans. How do you fix society when we've been fucked for 2, going on 3 generations, and no one wants to fix things?
I hate to break it to you, my dude, but prostitution is kind of the oldest job in the world. And if you're trying to tell me that 30 years ago, men weren't going to strip clubs, women weren't going to strip clubs and paying for women's attention? Like, also, what are you talking about?
This is not the voice of a man who's like, yes, I respect women and don't in any way like demean them and put price tags on, etc.
Yeah, the whole thing is just reeking of like, I want to go back to a time where women weren't allowed to talk.
Yeah, also notably,
that's a traditional woman.
Men get up and work was included in their thing, but it wasn't for women. This guy sucks.
No, because they're not working. They're whoring themselves off.
Yeah, I forgot that everybody's doing that unless they dyed their hair blue.
It's a nightmare, and my name is Dane Miller.
It is a nightmare, and my name is Niles Payne.
And we've been your fuck buddies.